are we today? And I again want to say thank you for spending this afternoon with us. Welcome back to René Paris. And I am Daniela. I go by Danny. And if you'd like to follow me on my personal Instagram, it is at Texas Wig Fairy. Today, I am super excited. I'm going to be sharing with you. I always do questions. I answer questions that I've had from the class that I taught on Friday. Every Friday I teach a class and I always go over questions because I know some of it's repetition. I know you've heard myself talk about it. You've heard maybe Abby talk about it from a different perspective, Alexander as well. And as I say that, please remember those are my social media family. So please keep in mind that it is super important and valuable, lots of valuable information for you to follow them as well. So I encourage you to go down to our, to view all our Instagram stories that we save for later viewing, and also to go to our YouTube channel because we have so many amazing tutorials. So I'm going to start off today by answering a few questions, and then I'm going to go into the focus for today's live is going to be how I choose my neck style, meaning color, style, and I know I have a lot of them. And today I have chosen Taylor. Can anyone tell me what color? I know you have this color, and I haven't put product in it. I've got little flyaways, and I've done that on purpose because I had a couple questions about product again. And please bear in mind, I'm going to answer questions that have been sent to me regardless of whether we've gone over the information or not, because the one thing that I want to remind us of, is that every day for someone is a they're brand new to wigs. We may have years of experience. For some of us, we're end users. For some of us, we're retailers. And please keep in mind that no matter how many times I've been asked the question during the week, regardless of whether we have a fax page or a Q&A page, I'm still going to answer those because it's very, very important to me that we do so. My purpose is to educate and to inspire people to wear wigs. For those of you that don't know, and I did get the question, why do I wear wigs? And I've shared that before, but I'm going to share it today again. I wear wigs because I lost my hair when I lost 100 pounds. A lot of people do lose their hair. And it wasn't rapid weight loss. I get that all the time. It was over a year's time. But I did lose it. It grew back, and it grew back in patches. So I have bio hair, but I do have bald spots. So I just felt so much better the very first time I put a wig on, and it actually changed my whole profession. I did not do this. I did not do hair. And we're going to go into more in depth as I share my story at the end of the month, my full story. But for those today and the question, so that it is answered respectfully, that's why I wear wigs. The first question is, how do you manage bangs if you don't want to cut them? That's a really good question because right now I do realize that we may not be able to get to a salon. And if you've ordered your wig, or if you went out and just purchased it and then later decide that you want to cut your bangs, but you don't necessarily know how, and I wouldn't encourage you to do this at home. If you want to find a way to pin your bangs back, let me show you what I would do. And this is a really good question because we have this question every week, and of course in the salon we're able to cut the bangs. But if you don't want to cut them, if you're not sure, and I always suggest for someone to wear a style at least a week before they cut bangs into it, because even if you've never had bangs before, you may just decide that you don't want the bangs. Or if you've if you've always worn bangs, you may decide not to cut them. So what I'm going to do today is I usually encourage my wig buddies, if you will. I usually just take a little bit of hair here, and I'm doing this all with just my fingers and just a basic bobby pin. I always encourage to kind of just go under here and loosely pin this piece underneath here. So that's out of the way, and it's not like slick. You can make it, of course you can use product as well, but this is just a nice way to keep the bangs out of your face until you decide whether or not this is something that you really want to modify in your wig, that you really do want to cut bangs into it. Really, really simple. Again, I just took a piece of hair. Excuse me, my bobby pin went flying. So let me get another one here. I know you've seen me pull my hair back in like a little top notch or the little space bun that I had before. Of course, that's not for everyone. So again, I just took a little piece of hair here. Just taking it underneath here. Regular bobby pin. And I know I always share this and I always will, but if you are under treatment and you have to be extra careful to breaking skin, you know, you have to be careful not to break skin, please keep in mind to be very gentle when you're using a bobby pin. I've just pinned it underneath here. The other little tip is, without even knowing, I have pinned my wig to my wig cap. So as far as security, that's also a nice little option. So again, this is tailor. This always comes a little bit long for me. So I always have my sister trim it in this area. And yes, I'm licensed, but I still like, it just makes me feel good to sit in a salon chair and kind of, you know, be pampered myself. And for her to go into this and really personalize it for me, take a little bit of the weight out, use a little bit of hair product, just makes me feel like I am in the salon. It's a salon experience. So that's another thing that makes me feel really comfortable about wearing a wig. When I can sit down in a salon that's where everyone else, you know, not everyone in the salon here is having a wig done. We're a full service salon, so some people are having their bio hair done, and it just makes me feel really wonderful to be in the same atmosphere as maybe, you know, everyone else. However, every experience is wonderful, and the one thing that I would always suggest is, if you're not sure, please contact someone in your area so that they can help you trim those bangs if you just decide that you want to cut them. Okay, second question is, how do you put on a mask with a wig? This was sent to me 5 times this week. 5 times. That's important because we've been wearing masks for a while, but like I said, it's very, very important. And when you see someone really nervous about putting a mask on, you have to address that. That's just something that's very, very important right now. So usually, and I see this struggle in the salon, we'll start doing this and it's not gonna work. And I understand this should be very simple, but please understand, as I was mentioning earlier, for a new wig wearer, you have to understand whatever the circumstances, they're dealing with that emotion and what they're having to deal with. They're dealing with having to get used to wearing a wig, and then they're trying to figure out how to put this on. So please have some empathy for the people that you're working with, your friends, whoever it may be. It may be someone that you know that you think, okay, that's really simple. It should be really simple, but it may not be. So please take the time to share that information. So what I do is, this is just a regular mask with 2 little loops here. I'm gonna lift my hair, and I'm lifting all of this here. I'm lifting the actual little tab here, and I'm gonna place this. Then I'm lifting the hair and putting this on, and then adjusting. And I know this seems like it should be very simple, but I kid you not. For someone to ask 5 times how to do this in 1 week, it had to be addressed. So this is how we put our mask on. Again, this is just a basic mask. Again, I'm lifting the hair so that I'm not struggling trying to lift pieces of hair here. I'm lifting the hair, the actual little ear tab. I'm lifting the ear tab, lifting the hair, and then adjusting. So for those of you ladies who sent that information to me this week, I hope that does help, and thank you for asking the question. And I know I always say no question is too small. Every question is very, very important. So thank you, ladies, for sending that in. How many wigs do you try on before you know you've found a new one? Good question. Okay, which brings me to the focus of our Instagram today is how do I decide what I'm going to purchase next? To answer in a double part, do I get my wigs sent to me? No, I do not. I don't have my wigs sent to me. They're not chosen for me. The colors are not chosen for me. But the one important thing that I do keep in mind is when René Paris, and I know I went over in depth as far as all the collections that we do have at René Paris. If you have not taken the time to do that, please do so. Anyone watching that has not taken the time to go to reneparis.com, please do so because it's a beautiful website to begin with. We have so many collections. And one of the things that I really love about reneparis.com is if you're looking for a particular color, you could even go down to a bang search. You can go to a color search. You can go in and you can do, in the search bar, you can put a color. Say, for instance, this color. Did anyone guess what this color is? Okay, so I'm going to share this really quickly. Oh, thank you, Abby. So sometimes if my mask feels loose, I tuck it under the wig so it feels secure to my face as well. That's another good suggestion. You can tuck it under, which is a really good option as well. There's just so many things that we've learned wearing the wigs and masks together, and please remember we are here to help you. So thank you for that tip, for that bit of information. Going back to the question, do my wigs get chosen for me? No, they don't. Thank goodness. That is one of the most wonderful things about wigs. I think the most important thing for me to share with you is whenever I decided how to pick my first color, because I was always really safe about colors. And keep in mind that whenever I'm teaching at different facilities, I do have to keep in mind what makes the staff and my audience, my students, comfortable. So I do keep that in mind. If some of my looks are going to be very tailored and classic in color, meaning natural colors, and then of course most days, and I would say almost every day, I'm going to be wearing a fashion color like this particular color. So the way I choose my next style is usually what's available in this particular color. And the most important thing for me is if it's functional, meaning that I can wear it underneath. I can create a bang if I need to. It's not going to be too long for me because I don't feel comfortable in really long styles. I do have a lot of Angelicas. You've seen those, but Angelicas for me are going to be special occasion hair or a messy bun for work. However, I'm not going to be wearing, I just do not feel comfortable in my everyday environment, teaching, cutting hair, working with children. I don't feel comfortable wearing long, loose hair. So therefore, I always look for something that's maybe to the shoulder. I do prefer no bang or a long bang. So you've seen my breezy and I always pin it back. But the most important thing is going to be the color. So that is definitely going to determine which style I'm going to go with next. However, I always look forward to the release of new colors, like limited edition colors. And I also definitely always look forward to launches for René Paris because every launch is going to have so many styles that I would love. So going back to the question, how many styles do you try before you know you have the right one? You know, I've been trying wigs on people for over 20 years, and I would have to say that within 5 styles, and I honestly have to say that most people pick within the first 2. 5 is more than enough. If you go past, and I understand people like to have fun, they want to try different colors on, it gets overwhelming and it gets confusing. And you pretty much kind of know what you're looking for. I mean, if you don't, that's a whole nother consultation, if you will. But if you're asking me how many I try on, it's usually going to be about 4. If I was to look at a color, I could pretty much decide within 4 styles which one of those 4, if not all 4, I'm going to fall in love with. And the color selection, going back to reneaparis.com, if you haven't gone to reneaparis.com, you can also, like I was saying earlier, you can actually put in the search bar the color and it'll pull up all the styles available in that particular color. So it is an absolute wonderful tool to use if you're just not sure what to go with next. And I always share my favorite colors. Someone asked what was your favorite color for last year. I would have to say Illumina R. I think I got the most questions about the color that I used in last Monday's live, and it was Illumina R. It's a beautiful pearl color. It has it's gradient, which means that it has a root. And and I know I said this last Monday, but if you have not tried a rooted color, oh my goodness, you don't know what you're missing. It is absolutely wonderful. I know I was scared to try it at first, but I don't think I own too many styles without a root because it just it's more natural. For most people, for most people, I say that kind of jokingly because you know that this is not my natural color. You know I was not born with lavender hair. So this is Taylor, for those of you that are asking. This is Taylor. Does anyone know the color? It's a lavender. I'm waiting. I know some of you wear this color. But this is one of my absolute favorite styles. It is very, very versatile. You could have a bang trimmed into it, but like I said, I just kind of pin it under. You can pin it half up, half down. If you want to look at all the different styles that I've created with a Taylor, please go to @TexasWigFairy so you can look at those. And again, the other thing is, I think one of the most important features that I always talk about when I'm selecting a hairstyle, a new hairstyle, is whether or not you like Permatease or not. And Permatease is a feature that's in a lot of our styles, in most of our machine-made styles, but a lot of people feel like when you get something with that has Permatease. Let me see if I have, I'm sorry. This has very little Permatease, but if you look at the root, it's really close to the root, and it almost looks like you crimped the hair. It's called Permatease, and it's not you know, a lot of people get their hairstyle and they're like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with it. It's like, you have to really look at the base of the hair, and it's almost like, for lack of a better explanation, it's like when we take our hair, and I know I've done this with some of my, when I'm wearing a topper, I'll go underneath and I'll kind of crimp my own hair, and it creates volume. Alexander taught me that. You'll have to, if you haven't seen his videos, you have to go to our YouTube channel and view Alexander's videos. But he taught me how to take, keep in mind, I don't really do much with my bio hair, but in one of the very first sessions, he taught us how to take your bio hair. And again, I understand some of us don't have bio hair, but try to give an explanation for what Permatease is like. Whenever you take your hair and you kind of crimp it to build volume, that's what Permatease is like. So some of the styles have Permatease and some don't. If I don't want the style to have a lot of volume, then I'm going to go with the monofilament style. So just to answer specifically how I choose my styles, I think the most important thing is going to be color. Okay, so how do you pick your eyewear? This is a really good question as well. So about a year ago, well, maybe 2 years ago, if you go back to at Texas Wig Fairy, way back, we were doing a big photo shoot, and I have eyewear that's really, really dark. It's beautiful, but I didn't realize how limiting it was going to be. It's a really chunky frame, and it was just too much, and it's really difficult to wear that color and that much frame with my wigs. So please keep in mind that I usually try to pick a frame that's very neutral in color, if not transparent. That's something that I really had to learn in the past year, because I really should be wearing glasses all the time. So that was another really good question. How do you pick your eye color? I would definitely, I mean, if you do readers, you could probably have readers for every style, but I understand not all of us want to do that. But please keep in mind, I choose something that's transparent or kind of a neutral color. This is almost like a bone color. It's not really taupey. It appears white, but without this ring light, it's going to be a really natural color. Okay, let me see here. I want to make sure that I answer all these questions. How do you know where to place your wig when you put it on in the nape area? This is a really, really good question, and I can't tell you how many times I answer that question. So I'm gonna try to show you. When you put a wig on, I know it feels comfortable to put it on. You're gonna adjust the ear tabs here, and most of us try to grab the back, the material in the nape. We try to grab it, and we're trying to pull it way down here because it feels, for the first time, if this is really one of the first times you put a wig on, this is not bubblegum R, this is lavender. This is Taylor, and this is a limited edition color. Okay, so when we're putting, thank you, Shirley. When we're putting a wig on, please remember that when you bend your head back, and I'm going to show you without the wig so that you can understand what this really means, because it's kind of hard to understand what I'm saying when the wig is on. So when you put your wig on, back here, when you bend your head back, where your head bends at the very end, at the very underneath your occipital bone, and I know this sounds funny, but this is really, really important for someone who has never put a wig on before. When you put the wig on and you bend back like that, where the bend is at underneath your occipital bone, this is where the fabric of the wig should end. You don't want the fabric, you don't want the nape, the material of the wig in the bend, underneath that low, because every time that you bend back like that, that fabric is going to be binding and uncomfortable. This is very, very important. I know I've gone over it many times, but I received that question 4 times this week, so it's very, very important. So, when you put your wig on, you want to make sure that it's at your natural hairline. And we have tutorials on all the different features that I'm going over. So please make sure that you go to our YouTube channel so you can see in-depth tutorials, please. You're going to make sure that your ear tabs are in this area. You want to make sure that they are flat to the head. If you wear eyewear, you want to cup them a little bit, and it makes putting your eyewear on easier. Back here, what I'm saying is do not pull the wig, the nape, further down. You do not want it in the bend of your neck, because the minute you do this, it's going to feel like it's going to pop off. Very, very important. And I can't tell you, if you've put a wig on for the very first time and you put it too far down and you turn your head and it feels like it's going to pop off, you're going to be terrified to wear that wig. And what that means is the placement is incorrect. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so my next question was, how do you, okay, let me see here. I'm sorry. Okay, do I pin, and I know I've shared this before, do I pin my wigs? I do not pin my wigs. I really don't. If I do choose to pin a wig, the reason I don't pin my wigs, and I know you've heard me say this. Hi ladies. Hi Jody. Hi Shirley. Hi Carol. The reason I don't pin my wigs is because if I run into someone who wants to try my wig on, if I'm in public, it's not a problem for me. I don't expect everyone to feel that comfortable. However, I know how important it is for someone to build the courage to come up to you. And if you say you're wearing a wig and they feel comfortable enough to try it on wherever you're at, I keep wig caps in my bag. You can ask my team that I travel with. We've done this live. We've done it at different locations because it's very important to me. Not saying you have to do that. That is just the comfort level where I'm at. And I never really explain or go into detail that I sell wigs. I don't think it's important. I just want them to know that the wigs look natural, they're fun, and if that's the chance encounter that we have and they have the questions and they feel comfortable with me, I'm going to answer them. So I hope that was informative today. I hope that answered your questions. So I'm going to really briefly go over really quickly, how do I choose my next wig? So I do go by seasons. However, it's, you know, in the wintertime in the salon, a lot of people come in and they want to wear really dark hair because in the winter, most people go back to their, you know, dark, classic natural colors. I do not feel that comfortable in my natural colors anymore. I have had so much fun and I feel so much more confident in colored, fashion colored hair that I don't think you're going to run into me in my natural color. I love my natural color, and if I'm with my parents or my brothers, I wear my natural color. My natural color is espresso. I wear espresso in Angelica, so if you haven't seen that at Texas Wig Fairy, please view that. I just have so much fun picking you know, our fashion colors. And if you don't know about all our colors, please go to reneaparis.com and view that information. And if you are a new viewer today, because I see some of the people that I invited, please know that we are here to educate you and to make this experience as comfortable as possible. And if at any time you can enjoy a different look that maybe you just didn't have the hair to do, like, and I mean, when I say didn't have the hair, I mean when you did have hair, it just wouldn't take color, it wasn't the right texture, it wasn't the right density, and you're open to try something new, a wig is the best way to do that. So for you hairstylists that are out there, I know Alexander has shared this with you. Abby does a wonderful job of doing it too. Please know that a wig is a beautiful accessory with no commitment. If you don't like it, I know that there's so many different options. So please go to reneaparis.com, look at our beautiful styles, and see what see what your dream hair has always been, because that's what I did. You know, I looked for my dream hair. And then if you just don't feel like you're ready for that, then look for your everyday hair, meaning the hair that you feel most comfortable in, because that's probably going to be the best choice for you to make the very first time that you purchase your very first wig. Let me see what we have here. Thank you very much for the compliments. Again, my purpose is to educate and to make sure that those answers are the questions are answered. Please remember to follow Abby and Alexander as well. Make sure that you subscribe, follow us, hit the notification button so that you always know what's coming up next and all the new collections that we have coming out this year. I thank you again for joining us at René Paris this afternoon. You have a good afternoon, and like I always say, live big in your ROP wig. See you soon.